Hi, today we are going to discuss about communication channels, which are the main important components that we will use for representation of communication channels and what are the probabilities associated with a communication channel. Okay. So let us consider basically the block diagram representation of a communication system. So here we can see that the entire communication system or the channel part what we are considering is a data communication channel which is actually discrete, because here we are considering the binary input and here we are considering the binary output. So since entire thing between this channel is between a binary data, we are calling this data communication channel as a discrete channel. So in the channel, the very first part is our channel encoder. So channel encoder part is actually the work that to the reverse of your source encoder. We have seen that your source encoder will try to reduce the total number of bits to represent a particular symbol, whereas in the channel encoder will try to add some extra bits to the information bit, so that during transmission if signal suffers any errors, that error should be identifiable at the receiving end. And those extra bits whatever our channel encoder is adding are called as the redundant check bits. They are redundant because they are not giving any information to us, and since they are used to check the errors, they are called as the check bits. So the actual information, which is binary data plus the checksum bits, will be given to the modulator. So this data will be modulated depending upon our channel behavior. A proper modulation scheme will be selected and the modulated signal will be sent over the communication channel. So while your signal is going through your communication channel, some part of noise will get added since we are using a wireless communication channel, and at the receiving end demodulation will take place. So once the demodulation occurs, your output is nothing but again the information bit plus the check bits. Now your channel encoder, with the help of those check bits, it will try to identify if the received data has suffered any errors or not. Now depending upon obtained result, that is if it has suffered any errors, then channel decoder can perform two tasks. One is it can ask the transmitter to resend the data because it has suffered an error, and that is called as error detection. And if your channel decoder or the receiver part itself is capable of correcting those errors and retrieving the proper information, then that is nothing but error correction. So your channel decoder at the receiving part can only identify or detect the errors and ask the transmitter to resend it, or it can even correct the errors. And the output of this channel decoder is nothing but the binary output, which is actually an approximation to our binary input. Now how to represent this channel, because if we cannot represent the channel mathematically or if we do not use any model, then the analysis would be quite difficult. So we will go for considering the various components that are helpful in representing the channel. So the channel model basically can be represented with the help of these three components. One is an input alphabet, and then output alphabet, and a transition probability. So input alphabet says what are the various alphabets that your source is capable of outputting. So if your source is capable of giving or generating n number of inputs, then the total input alphabet or the input would be those n alphabets. That is, your source can send any one of those alphabets. And your output alphabet is nothing but the total number of message alphabet are the symbols that your receiver is giving as a output. So here the number of input alphabet will not be same as your number of output alphabet, because once the error gets added to your input alphabet, that combination could be quite different. So input plus error pattern 1, input plus error pattern 2, and for the same input you can have any number of error patterns. Therefore obviously your output alphabet can have even more number of outputs compared to your input. Next is your transition probability. So transition probability gives us information regarding which output alphabet has been received corresponding to a particular input alphabet. So if this transition probability will help us in deciding whether we have received the proper data or have we received the data with certain errors. So that thing we are going to study with the help of transition probability. Now, as we have seen, there are three components to represent a particular channel: input, output and transition probability. Here the set of all input symbols or the input alphabets are represented as set A. Similarly, the set of all output alphabets or all output symbols is represented as B. And the transition probability is represented as Bj divided by Ai. Let us come to the input symbols. So here if we are assuming that our source is capable of producing R number of different symbols. So we have the input symbols represented as A1, A2, A3 up to AR. Similarly, our receiver is giving us S number of different outputs, and those outputs are represented as B1, B2, B3, B4 up to Bs. And this is our transition probability. So transition probability says that we are receiving the symbol or the output symbol Bj when our input symbol Ai has been transmitted. So our J can be either 1, 2, 3 or any value between 1 to S, because we have B1 to Bs as our output alphabet and Ai is our input alphabet. Therefore I value varies between 1 to R. So transition probability can be B1 by A1, B2 by A1, B3 by A1, or it can take any combination of J and I, and they are called as the transition probabilities. Now, if I consider all the possibilities, that is, if I send A1, I can receive B1, I can receive B2, I can receive B3, I can receive up to Bs. So, simply by considering a single value of I, that is 1, let me consider all J values, that is 1 to S. So the transition probability for this case can be represented as P of B1 by A1, that is A1 is sent, B1 is received. Similarly, P of B2 by A1, which says that A1 has been sent but B2 has been received. Similarly, this probability says that the symbol AR has been sent. This is A1 actually. A1 has been sent but we have received BS. Similarly, if I consider that the symbol A2 has been sent, and if I consider all possible values of J, I can write that as probability that A2 has been sent, B1 received, probability that A2 sent, B2 received, probability that A2 sent but we have received B. Yes. Similarly, we can write separate row for A3, A4, A5 up to AR. Okay, so this n in this particular case can be AR. You can take any number of input symbols. So we have taken this as AN. You can take AR if you are discussing about R number of input symbols. So now we can see that the first row gives us the probability of receiving various outputs when A1 is sent. Similarly, second row says what is the probability of receiving the various output symbols when A2 is sent. Similarly, if here I say that I am considering R number of input symbols, the last row always says the probability of receiving various output symbols when AR has been sent. So now I have totally R number of rows. And coming to the columns, in this column I can see that all these transition probabilities have B1 as its output symbol, second column has B2 as its output symbol, and the last column has BS as its output symbol. So there are S number of columns. Therefore, if I consider these R number of rows and S columns as a matrix, I can say that I have totally R into S number of conditional probabilities. Okay, and these are represented in the matrix form. So this is our matrix form, and this matrix is called as a channel matrix. Okay, or it is even called as a noise matrix, and it is generally given as P of B by A, where B is nothing but the set representing all the output symbols B1 to Bs, and A is representing all the input symbols between A1 to AR. Okay, so this is our channel matrix actually, which is represented with the help of a transition probability. And these are the three important components we will be using while discussing about the channels. Now, consider that we have a transmitter with input symbols A1, A2, A3. A1 is represented as 0, 0, A2 as 0, 1 and A3 as 1, 0. Similarly, we have a receiver with four output symbols B1, B2, B3 and B4, in which B1 is represented as 0, 0, B2 as 0, 1, B3 as 1, 0 and B4 as 1, 1. Now, as we know, our A1, when A1 is sent, I can receive B1, or I can receive B2, or I may receive B3, or I may receive B4. So the transition probability for this particular transition is P of B1 by A1, and the transition probability for this second case is probability of B2 by A1. Similarly, the transition probability for this third transition would be P of B3 divided by A1, and for the last case would be P of B4 divided by A1. The same thing I can consider with A2. That is, when A2 is sent, I may receive B1 or B2 or B3 or B4. And the corresponding transition probabilities would be P of B1 by A2 or P of B2 by A2 or P of B3 by A2 or P of B4 by A2. Similarly, we can consider the transition probability for A3 also. Now I can say that we have 3 rows and we have 4 columns if we want to write the channel matrix. So this example says that if a channel diagram is given, it is quite easy for us to write a channel matrix, even if the channel for the channel matrix, if the transition probabilities are given, those transition probabilities can be substituted in the probability, conditional probabilities. So I am going to get 3 cross 4 matrix over here. Or in other words, I can say that if I have given with a particular matrix, from that matrix information I can even write the channel diagram. That is also possible. Okay. Now, so the transition matrix for the previous problem consists of these 3 rows and these 4 columns. Okay, where P11 is nothing but probability that B1 is received when A1 is sent. P12 says that we are receiving the second symbol B2 when the first symbol A1 has been sent. So with these notations you can say that we can see that this P11 is in general is nothing but Pij. Okay, it is in general Pij because the first one is for I and this one is for j. Similarly, in the second term, this one is for I, A1, right? And this 2 is for j, that is Bj, which is equal to B2. Now if I consider one particular row, say for example the first row, it says that when A1 is transmitted we receive only one of 4 symbols. Either I can receive B1 or I can receive B2 or I can receive B3 or I can receive B4. Or I may have a confusion saying that depending upon the probability, I have to take a strong decision whether it is B1, B2, B3 or B4. That again depends upon your probability value. Whichever has got the highest weightage, that is provides us the confidence to say that that particular message has been received. So when I consider all these probabilities and if I add them up, totally this row will give me 1. That is P11 plus P12 plus P13 plus P14 is equal to 1. This is actually one of the property of our channel matrix. So this property says that the sum of each probability in a particular row is always equal to 1.